right, good evening. Welcome to today's NGIGO virtual lecture series. In most times, after you've gotten your data, for most of the research that we do that involves human participants as respondents, in most cases, if you want to tell us a story that is an outcome that you have found, the first thing that we will need to know is the group of people that that particular response or outcome is coming from. That is, in every project work or every thesis or every paper that you write, first and foremost, you should start by telling us the particular group of people for which that particular response or results have been drawn from. So in most cases, in developing any instrument or any experiment, we take up the background data of the participants that are involved. In other words, it may be things that are involved that involves the demography of the people. For example, the age group, gender, educational background, and marital status, and all the other things that are involved in the social lives. Yeah, because, for example, if you come to tell me a certain response, and at the end of the day, I found out that, oh, this response are coming from class 6 school children, I know the weight that I have to put on that. All these responses are coming from people who otherwise have not even attained any formal education before. Okay, then I know, well, this is the people that we are actually talking about. If there is a response that is coming from a certain group and realize that maybe the group they are made up of a lot of females, we know there are certain things that males and females differ. Okay, if it is coming from a certain group of people that we know that, oh, okay, these guys are unemployed, so by virtue of the fact that they are unemployed, these are the perceptions or the choices that they will make. So the background data is very, very important. Whether it's a disease or whatever that we are talking about, the first place we should know who is saying what, and the who is saying what is always found as the first results that you actually present, which in actual fact goes to just characterize the particular group of people that you have sampled your data from. Okay, it's giving us the background information of the people that you are actually surveying your data from. So most often than not, in most of the research that we do, except the ones that are actually involved in certain methods and stuff and all those things, the first table is supposed to be a non-complicated table that tells us the background of the people or the respondents. So in most cases, we unofficially call it table 1. Table 1 always should tell us just the background of the people. In most cases, since some of these data were taken in terms of their categorical outcomes, so in most cases you may just present them as frequencies and then percentages descriptively. In other cases, you may want to do that by virtue of a certain grouping. Maybe you are working in 2 different groups. Let's say you have a case group and then a control group that you are actually working with. So let's say that we are interested in people who have a certain disease, they become the case, and then those who don't have a certain degrees, they become the control. So you may decide that, well, you want to present the data such that we can see the demographics for the controls and the demographics for the cases, right? In most cases, you are doing this is actually not supposedly the focus of your work, but it is just to give us the background of the people that you did the work in. What we've seen people do is that rather when they go for those particular data, what happens is that at the end of the day, every question that they ask, they draw a table for that question or draw a figure for that question. So the whole demography thing or background thing will end up with about 10 or 20 tables or so. And in some people, even the work that they want to do, you don't even get what they are actually going to do. All that you see, it is the demographic data. But the objective of the of the work was not to go and do social characterization of the what? Of the group. I hope you are getting me. Yes. Later on, if you have come out with your particular results and you want to see whether those backgrounds have anything to do with the things that you are doing, then you analyze your data using the backgrounds as what? Attributes to do structure. That is, compare and contrast between different what? Backgrounds, and see whether backgrounds are playing part. Sometimes by virtue of certain background or certain social behaviors, it may put somebody at risk of becoming something or giving a certain response or having a certain disease. For example, we know that there are risks associated with certain things like alcohol consumption, smoking, and then certain lifestyle behaviors. Okay, like people with multiple partners and all those stuff. Okay, they may put you at a certain risk level. So you may want to do that in your later analysis as you go on, but the first table that you are presenting, it's actually supposed to just give the background of the what? Of that particular population. So today we're taking an example of such data, and then we will consider the background of the people. Now, so this is a study that was undertaken looking out for preferences of what? Health facility for perinatal service utilization among women in the what? Afija-Kwabere district. Right. So you realize that the first section of the data is what? The general demographic information of the respondent. So it includes the location. That is, if the location is important for you. It includes the age. Okay. It includes marital status. And then also it includes what? The partner's what? Age. For this particular work, maybe partner's age may be important, okay, because the partner may have influence on the choice the person is actually doing. So it includes educational status, and again the partner's educational status. So the things that you put as demographics should be relevant to the subject that you are doing. It includes religion, and then again once the partner's religion also, then employment status, then the partner's employment status. So virtually these are what's making up the demographic data for this particular work that was there. So we're going to try and see how we can put this demographic information in one table, that just by the look of that table we should have the information of the background or biodata or demographic data or information of the respondents that we dealt with. Hello. Like I always tell you, statistics is supposed to make things simpler. It's supposed to give you a summary understanding. It is not rather supposed to complicate the the information. So for example, you can see, since the questions are numbered, you can see that we have up to 10 questions. Okay, this should not give us 10 different tables or 10 tables and 10 graphs. And I've told you that data can be presented in text, figures, that is the graphs, or tables. If you present the data in text, you don't need to go and present it in a table and a figure again. That is double data presentation, and that is not accepted. So if you do like we have been seeing people do, you put it into a table, then you put one pie chart under it. So you realize that all the graph sheets, graph forms in Excel, people use all of them, and then they get finished and they start repeating it by changing colors. So you use pie chart, you use donuts, and then the one that part of the the chart has been removed. I think that one looks like a cake, so that may be cake chart. All right. Yeah. No, the round one with the part removed. So I think that is a pie. That doesn't become a pie again. Look like a cake. So you use all those things. They'll be using cone, all sorts of stuff. You don't need that, because in actual fact, at the end of the day, when we ask you a simple question, what is the demographic information about the people, we should be able to just get a glance at one table like this, and then we have all the demographic information. So we're going to start with this one, and as usual, we're going to do this thing in two forms. The first form that we're going to do is that we're going to use Excel in actually trying to get information. Then second, we use another software to try and do that. We always want to take things from the basics before we get to the extent. Right. So on this case, this is the data that have been captured for that particular questionnaire. So as you can see, we have the data from question 1 all the way down to question 10. Now we can just pick up this part and know the first rule is that you never work on the same data sheet. Yeah. So you can copy this one, this make up the demographic information, come to a new sheet and then just paste it there. Right. So if you have this one, we have the data on a new sheet. So we can now decide. You decide on how you want to present this data. Now, if you look at this particular questionnaire, you realize that the first question that was here was the code. Then you have them in two groups. You have those that are pregnant, and then those that are peporal. Hello? Yeah. Peporal simply means they've just given They just given birth. So we have pregnant and peporal. So you have two groups. So like I told you, you could decide that you want to present the demographic information in two different forms. In this case, you may want to present it by so that we will know the pregnant women and then the peporal women. Or you can just decide that you want to present it at just one column, the whole total data. So we're going to do the two together. That's going to be our lessons so that you know how to present the two different forms. And most of these data that we are having, apart from the age, all of them are categorical variables. Yeah. Apart from the age, all of them are categorical variables. So without taking much time, this is what we're going to do. So first and foremost, we're going to try to present just figures and then percentages. So we start with the first one, and then we may omit the town. So we can easily just click all of this and then select it, then go to filter, that is sort and filter, and then click on filter. So if you have filter, we can now just use our filter to just know the individual numbers that are available in each of the categories that we have here. So you just need to find yourself a book. Okay, so Inas and Adam, you can put the figures there for us, or everybody can put the figures down. Yeah, open the Excel sheet and then put the figures there for us. Or by you analyzing, you should have a book beside you and do the analysis inside. So we'll start with the status. So we just have to click on this side and you realize that we have two status group in here. So we first take up the pregnant women, and the pregnant women are they are 81. So this is the number 81 out of the 150 are pregnant women. Hello, that's down here. You can see that. Now, if you take the counts from here, okay, this one because all of them is selected. That is why. If you take the counts from here, it will be 82, but that includes the heading status. So if you take it from here, you may add 1 to it at every time, but the filter is at this side. Hello, right? So that is for the pregnant women. So we go to the peporal women, and how many do we get? We get 68, as you can see here. So quickly, what you do is that you make sure that you deselect this one, okay, and then you move on to the next sheet. If you don't deselect it, that means the next sheet you are going to deal with, you are actually going to deal with only the people with peporal or pregnant women. So if we wanted to work with the ages, the locations, we could have come here, but I don't think the location is so important because we want time. They are so valid, plenty of them, we don't need to. So let's just not waste our time with that. So we ignore that part as not part of our work. Okay, we are not interested in the ages, so we take that one out. Okay, distance, so we take that one out. Right. Then let's go to the marital status before we come to the age. Okay, good. So I say marital status. So we just come to marital status. We have 3 different categories. Now, what sometimes we've seen is that when it comes to developing questionnaires for some of the things that have structure, people over stratify. Okay, people over stratify. The categories, some of them can be merged, but I see people overly do them. Now you are putting people in certain categories such that they identify with the same, what do you call it, category, and because they identify with the same, the conditions are what are the same, and therefore their choices or behavior as far as social choices are concerned will be what will be the same. So for example, you might not need widowed, divorce, and the rest. All those people actually are what single. So widowed, divorced, separated, the person is not living with what with a husband. Are you getting it? So he doesn't have a companion at that time. So whatever choices a single person may be doing, that is the same thing that may be happening to what a widowed or a widower or what do you call it, a single person. Sometimes when you over break them into those kind of structures, you don't have significant numbers occupying each of the structure. And as we go along with the analysis, you realize that numbers may be meaningful in order for you to look at it and see whether there are differences or certain outcomes. Okay, so if you do overly what do you call it, stratify, what happens is that at the end of the day you'll be having fewer numbers, 1, 2, and it masks what the story. So education, no education, primary school, what do you call it, JSS, middle school, O level, secondary, you see a lot of those things in most of the things. But the question is that everybody that have not gone to school, the choices may be the same. Now people that have had basic education, okay, people that have had basic education, primary, JSS, their choices in life are virtually the same. That is why we call them what? The basic level. As soon as the person move out from that place and gets into a secondary education level, you getting the choices will be what? Will be different. So whether it was ordinary level or advanced level or senior high or whatever it is, or SSS, it is still a secondary what? Education. Basically those people will have the same kind of choices. And then when a person enter tertiary education, the same thing, whether it is poly so that he gets diploma, or now you can get even degree at those places, or it is, let's say, teacher training or whatever. Once people get into that level of education, their social choices and things are what? Virtually the same. It doesn't matter whether it's a degree or higher, but for certain contexts, those may be what? Important. For most of the contents that we are looking out for these backgrounds, it is the social context of the choices that people will make. And once the person has had a tertiary education, they may be behaving virtually what? The same. For those that have finished secondary, they will be behaving the same. And for those that ended up in what? The basic level, their choices may be what? May be the same. So you don't need to classify middle school and JSS and all those things. We are overly stratifying things, and you may lose what? Power because of what? Numbers. Yeah. So sometimes some of those things you can merge them together. Right. So when it comes to ethnicity, you'll be listing all the ethnic groups, ethnic and an individual. But in Ghana, if you are working in Ghana, I think there are what 5 or 4 ethnic groups that are available. That is the Akan. Okay. So if it's Akan, you don't need to see whether the person is a tree, is a Fanti, is a most of the Akan traditions and stuff and beliefs are virtually what they say. Just like we have the Ghana Dangwe, we have the Ewe, then the Moli Dagwani, and then what do you call it, the Guan. Those basic classification may be enough for what you are doing. Because for the Moli Dagwani like this, if you want to characterize them the same way like the Akan, you get different things. If you come to the Ewe, you get different ones. You don't need to overly stratify because they are identical, what do you call it, behavior and stuff and things like that. Okay, let's continue with that. The same way when you get to religion also, unless it is going to have an influence on what you are doing, normally Christianity, Islam, and then what we call traditional, and then the others, okay, which are in the minority, they may broadly have the same type of things. But if you are doing certain things that certain particular Christian types may have certain beliefs that is known, okay, that it may have an influence in it, then maybe you may go Orthodox, Pentecostals, and some of those things here. okay, or spiritual and some of those things, so that you may get there. In as much as you should not overly strata when it is important for what do you call it, for you to be able to get sensitivity, so that you don't lump them together too, so that they don't what, you don't see what you want. Because for example, if it has to do with contraceptives, okay, we know that the Catholic belief is again what, the use of contraceptives. Islam too, right? No, I'm talking even taking the what do you call, the Christianity as one thing. So in this case, if you lump the Christianity together, you might not be able to get that particular group of people. And that is why if you are structuring your questions to structure it such that you ask the people whether the person's belief prohibits him or her from what, from actually undertaking some of those kind of things. So there's a way to go around some of these things so that you don't overly stratify, and also you don't overly lump things together so that you don't see things. All right, so let's do the cohabitation. So cohabitation are people who are living together but they are not married. There are a lot of group of people like that. Then we have the married people, and then we have, what do you call it, the singles. Okay, I think this strata is enough for the things that we're doing. Okay, so let's take the numbers from here then. So we have cohabits. That is what, 24, as you can see down here. Then we'll move on to the next stage, and that is married. And then the married, we have what, 121, because most of them are pregnant or preporal, so we expect a lot of them to be married. And then we have the singles, we have only 5. Yeah. So the singles are 5 because of the group. So when you finish, you make sure that you release the filter and then move on. Did you? Yeah. That's, you see, when I select anything in the filter, when the filter is on, you see a funnel on top of this one. Okay, so this is partners 5. Right. Married 121 and then 24. All right, so let's jump the partners age. That is question 4, as you can see here. Question 4, partners age. Again, let's come down because it's continuous. We will come back to deal with them later. We may choose to group them, or we may choose to analyze them as continuous variables. So we'll come back to that. So you come to, oh yeah, we will group them today because Blessing is here today, right? So Blessing, look, all of them gave their ages. Have you seen that? The partners' ages were also all taken. They were not grouped. And this is the way we want you to take continuous variables. Like you saw it here, you realize that the ages were meant for the people to put their names there. So today we'll group them because of Blessing. Also, Blessing. Okay. Yes, she knows. If you watch the other videos, you should have understand. Okay, so we move on to the partners education level. So we come to this side. Again, let's deselect. Let's start with what? None. Hello. Yeah, so we started with none. How many do we get? We get what? 43. So you realize as soon as I issue the filter, there's a funnel on top here. Okay. Then quickly we move on to what? Basic. Normally when you are doing some of these things, it's better to follow the normal order if there's order in it, so that you will not know, you know which one you've done and which one you've not done. So that is what? 78. Then we'll move on to the next one. That is what? Secondary. And then we have it like this. 26. And then the next one is what? Tertiary. And then that is also what? Only 3. Yeah. So when you finish, you go back, you select, or you have released this filter. Hello? Right. So move on to what do you call it? The partners education. This one was the education of the respondent, the partners education. So we go here, we remove this one, we go to none. And again, when you are setting out questionnaires, be careful that the choice of words that you use. You cannot set up questionnaires and use words like illiterate. Yes. So no education or no formal education is the right word to use. All right. We've been seeing these things all over in people's work. So, all right. So illiterate is an offensive word. So be careful of the choice of words. So we have none. For the men, partners education, we have none. That makes it what? 22. 22. Then we'll move on to the next one. We have basic. Raj, do you have a problem? Okay, you have sorted yourself what? That is what? 72.
For basic. Yeah.
For basic. And then the secondary is what? 42. And then the tertiary for the partners, we have what? 40. Good. So I'll quickly release that and then go and do the religion. So the religion, for this one, they have only two groups. So we have what? Christianity, that is what? 1, 1, 2. And then we move on to the next one. That is what? Islam, that is 38. Okay, then let's move on to the partners and then find out. So for the partners, we have Christianity, that is 106. And then we have Muslims, 42. So we have some Muslims, those wives are not Muslims. Then others, 2. Okay, so now we come to this part. Hello, we come to this part. I know what this is, so I'll replace it. There was an error in there. Then we come to the employment part. Again, when it comes to employment too, here is where you see the overstratus. Sometimes when it comes to employment, people want to record every employment that a person is actually engaging. And then what happens is that when you have that, it becomes very difficult for you to talk about it, because the employments are virtually so many, all right, especially in the non-formal sectors. So if it doesn't demand, the work does not demand actually on the particular employment thing. If it is a business, something you are surveying, what do you call it, the employment that people are engaging in order to know whether to finance it or not, that one may be fun. But if not, then you can put them into the broad categories, okay, like the formal sector, the informal sector, okay, right? Because we know that the behaviors of those two broad groups are normally the same. So you can do it like that. If it demands maybe the work the person do, you are interested in maybe whether it involves manual exertions or the white collar jobs, then fine. So white collar jobs are actually the formal sectors in most cases, and then the blue collar jobs are the informal sector, okay, right? But in our setting we hardly use blue collar, okay, yeah. All right, so when it comes to employment also, you can avoid the strategies when they are not important, and put them in groups so that it becomes very easy for you to, because before you move from seamstress to farmer to carpenter to kinky seller and then all the other stuff and things, it becomes very difficult for you to tell any story about the employment, because your actual main job of going to do is not to go and characterize the employment profile of a particular group. You just needed to see the background. So if it doesn't work the structure, it is not needed. You can put them in the various groups like this. So let's deal with this one quickly. So we have formal, informal, and then none. So those who are unemployed, they are the none, the unemployed. So the unemployed group. So the unemployed group, we have this group. I'm coming. There is something I did that is in the functions. Okay. So the none, we have 28. Those people responded that they don't have any current job. So we have in the informal sector, normally they are always in the majority, so you have 113, and then you have those in the formal sector, that is what 9. Yeah, the white collar jobs. And then those in the informal are considered as the blue collar jobs. Okay, we have some challenges with the entry, but anytime you see any of the numbers, they are informal. So because the data in actual fact was captured with all the characteristics when we are transferring. I will do that, but for this purpose, they are all informal. Okay, so the informal is what? 137. Good. Okay, sorry. Okay, we go for none first. That is 2. And then the informal, we have what? 137. And then the formal, we have what? 9. Good. All right. So now we can deselect this one also, or select all in order for the selection to go. Now let's deal with the ages. Hello. Let's deal with the ages. Now when you come to the age like this, straight away you know the minimum age among the group. That is what? 18. If you move all the way down here, that means you spread from 18 to what? To 50. Okay, so let's just be very arbitrary here. Okay, it's a continuous variable, but we want to categorize it. So let's just bring our own divisions from that. So let's do the first division is supposed to be less than 20 years. The next one will be 20 but less than 30. Then the next one will be 30 but less than 40. Then the next one will be what? Above 40. Hello? Would that be cool with you? Yes. Let's continue. Less than 20. So the first one will be less than 20. So when you are here, you use the number filter. So Blessing, you see, you just go here, you come to number filter, and then all that you do is that the first group you want is what? Less than what? 20. So you just put less than 20. When you click on that, you know straight away the number of people who are less than 20. That is what? 6. So those who have been telling you, if you don't group the age in ranges before you go to the field to go and take the data, the analysis will be difficult. They don't know what they are about, seriously. Hello? Yes. Because it is now that you get the figures and you'll be able to know which is the appropriate grouping you want to group, if you want to group. But I've also been telling you that anytime you are doing any groupings like this, you should have a scientific base of doing it, if really there is the need for it. For example, if you don't have any scientific base for grouping the thing that you are doing, you may go and use the psychosocial age development thing. For example, there is Derek Erickson's classification of psychosocial age, because it is a accepted fact that people within that particular age group behave what they say, or their choices may be what they say. So they may be prone to a certain particular choice. Don't forget, this is what? Preference, right? So people within a particular group of, guys at a particular age, they have a way of doing their things. Like we have you guys here, the way you do your things, and we the old men, the way we do our things. We now, it's like we don't get swag anymore.
It's like job to house.
Yes, job to house. Job to house. Yeah. So it's like that. And since people's choices are influenced by group, so you expect that they, by virtue of their group that they identify themselves with, they will actually take that kind of job. So this one we are doing it arbitrarily, but that is not what's supposed to happen in a drop. Okay, so the next one we want it to be greater than or equal to what? 20. But it should be what? Less than 30. Hello?
Alright.
Is that okay with you? Just simple, what do we call it? So how many do we have?
97.
97, yes. Because you are talking about pregnant women That is a reproductive age, so you have a lot of people at that stage. All right. So the next one, we want it to be greater than or equal to what? 30. But it should be what? Less than. It should be less than what? 40. Okay. So what do we get? 46, as you can see down here. And then the last group, we want it to just be greater than or equal to, or greater than what? Or equal to what? 40.
No.
50 rather. Yeah. Even I'm surprised 50 years Beth. There's only one person. It might be an entry error. So in this case, if you have something like this, what you do is that you go back for the original questionnaire and then you look at it. You know, if you are talking about pregnant women before 50 years, it doesn't happen like that. Yes.
Greater than 40, just greater than 40.
Greater than 40, yeah, but yeah, 40 and above will be okay. Greater than or equal to 40.
No. The other one is
30 to 39. So greater than or equal to 40. Yeah.
how many are they?
There's still one person. Because it's the group you are looking at for. Above 40 is blessing greater than or equal to 40. So such a thing, when you do entry and you finish and you don't pick this one up, whilst you are doing your analysis, always recheck whether this figure is true. You validate it. Okay. All right, let's continue. Yeah, because
you are dealing with SHS students and you have
50 years and 40 years like we saw in the last time, and majority of the SAS students were around 40 to 50 years. You should be careful. Ask yourself, was it the teachers you are looking at, or so you may verify those ages and see, because it won't make any sense. Right. Okay, let's look at the husband. Okay, again, if you look at the husband's partner's age, so you see here too, you have an entry error with these ones. Okay, you cannot say somebody's a husband is 1 or 2 years. It's not possible. Yeah, so the person likely is entering 20 something or 30 something, and then that happens. So there's an entry. So you go back for that's why you never dispose of your what? The hard copy that you use in capturing the data. Okay, until some period of time. So we will consider all of these guys as what? Below 20. So we'll take them as less than 20. So less than 20. How many do we get? We have only the 2. Okay, we have only the 2. Yeah, Ghanaians boys are disciplined. They don't do things like that. All right, let's continue. Blessing, don't counter. And so everybody knows. Okay, let's continue. Greater than so greater than or equal to 20. You don't want any social discourse here. Less than what? 30. Okay. All right. How many do we have? We have 26. See, the boys 26. Only 26 are even within that 20 range. Yeah. Then we go to the next one. We are having what? 30. You getting it? Or less than what? 40. Yeah. So if we do that, that is where majority of the guys, they are men. That is 80, 89. You see, they are men. So, and the old men also like doing small things. Let's continue. Greater than or equal to 40, right? You're using the same classifications that we did the other one. Yeah, 27. 27. All right. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so by this we have done all the classifications that we need to do. Hello. Right. So after you had the figures, we will quickly just put in the figures into a table. So for this particular table, we are designing a table that we have what? A total, what do you call it? Include the whole group, because we didn't stratify any anyway. So we may start with a parameter. And always it's good to build your table in Excel before you take it to what? To Word. And when you are in Excel, you don't need to expand any of the sizes. You just put the things inside as it is, because the idea is to have the same, what do you call, the home same cell sizes that you get in it. And then when you go out there, so that when you pull them up, you won't have distortions as it's seen. So we can have here frequency, and then we put here what? Percentage. Good. So because of time, let's quickly we know the total respondents. The total respondent. Okay, the total respondent was what? 150, Abby? Okay, so that will make what? 100%. Alright. Then let's start. What do we have? Age. Status. Okay. So we'll put here status. Status. So we have here, we come down here, this is what? Pregnant. And then this one becomes what? Temporal. Spell it for me then. What? There's an R somewhere.
It's okay.
Don't worry. Okay. Let's continue. It is PU.
PUGR.
Okay. Let's continue. PUER.
I didn't catch you.
Alright. So what are the figures for this one?
81,
81, 68. Then the next thing was marital status.
68, not 61.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Marital status.
Because we did the age last, are we going to do them last?
No, let's put him in here because this one is what, 68, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the marital status, we have what? Singles.
Married.
We have singles. Normally put things also in perspective. Cohabited. Nobody will catch you if you miss it, but it's better. It makes sense if you put them in the order in which they appear.
Okay, so you will be single before you cohabitate. Before you and after that.
So how do you get? 5. Okay.
Then cohabitate is 24.
24.
Then married is 121.
Married is what? 121. Okay. The next one is
Let's
what?
go for the age.
Okay. Age. That is respondent's age, right?
Less than 20.
So age of respondent. Let's quickly, we might not even enter, or we'll just cut it somewhere and move on. Age of what? Respondent. Okay, then we have the first one is what? Less than 20. So we can just put in something like this. Less than 20. The next one is what?
Greater than or equal to 20, but less than 30.
So how do we put that?
Greater than or equal to that sign.
Okay, let's do this. We'll fix that sign when we get there.
Okay.
The next one will be what?
30 to 40.
30 to 40. We'll fix it when we get there. Quickly so that we can easily fix it.
40.
Then the next one is greater than 40, right? That is above 40. We'll fix it when we get to a word. So the figures, please.
Figures is 6.
6,
97.
9, 7,
46.
4, 6, 4, 6, and then 1. Good.
So you copy the same thing for the partner's age.
Okay. That will follow this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that is the next one we're going on to. And that one is what?
Between the heading.
Age of partner or partner's age. Okay, can we get the figures now?
20.
We have what? 20? Yes.
We have 26.
26.
89.
89.
27.
27.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get the last one and then we'll move on quickly.
Educational status.
Okay. So educational, normally educational background sounds better. So educational background, if they are common use of words, it's better you use it. Okay, so we have what? None.
Okay, none.
We have none.
None.
Oh?
Yes, none.
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 Or in that particular category, is there any none?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Basic. If you have something on your questionnaire, but you go out there and then you don't have anybody answering those things, it doesn't mean that you should put it in your results. So let's say there was none of the people who was what have not attained any education. All of them have attained education. Doesn't mean that in a classification there should be what? None here. You put the ones that the people what had. Hello? Right. Okay. The next one is what? Secondary. And then the last but not the least, the tertiary. The figures, please.
9, 43,
43,
78,
78, 26, and then 3. Okay. So this is the educational background of what? Respondent, right? Let's have that for the partners. Okay. Good. Let's move on quickly.
Okay. Partners 9, 22.
9, yeah.
22.
22.
72.
72.
42.
42.
14.
14.
42.
Good. So after you've done this, you know the percentage is actually the total of this. Hello? Yeah, the percentage is the total of this thing in the column. You know, there may be non-respondents. Other than that, you could have just used this as the what? The denominator and then just scroll it down. Okay, but there may be non-respondents in some of these places. So for example, if you look at this one, you see one person is missing. You realize this is what? 149.
That is blessing.
You're right. But if you look at this one, this is 150. You realize this one is what? 150. How come this one becomes 162?
The below 20.
The below 20.
The below 20, I think the 2, 1 single numbers we had.
There were 2, not 20. They were below 20.
No, it's not 20.
It's 2. The frequency for below 20.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. Yeah, this side we entered error. So whoever did it, yeah. So we have something like this. That is partner's age. Okay. So these were the number of people.
We are not recording
Yeah, a respondent may not give you every response. So the fact that at certain place the person does not respond does not mean the place he responds. You don't use it as the distance.
Are we doing analysis?
No, so you do the analysis with a valid percentage. So among the people who gave the response, this is the distribution. And that is why I'm going through this pain to let you know the number of people that exist at that place. Hello? Right. So you realize that you take this one's 150, you take this one's 150. So there are 2 places that we don't have the 150 in there. Okay? So I'm just going to be smart quickly because I want to finish very early. I come here, I put in what? An equal to sign. Once I put in an equal to sign, it becomes what? A calculator. So I'll just put this one in here. Then I will just put what? This slash what? The total. In actual fact, this one we know the total, there's a problem with it, but I will use the 150, alright. Then later I'll come and correct for that one. So divided by 150, multiply, that is the star 100. So when I do this, I get the what? The percentage. So I'll just autofill for all of these. And straight away I get the percentages for all of them. Hello? Right. So now the ones that I know does not make the 150, I will just change their base. So these ones are all correct. The base is correct for each of them. This one, the base is what? 144, not 150. I'll just come and click on this one and I'll change this one to what? 144. 144. So that is the percentage, and I'll screw it for only this side. So I've corrected for that. Hello. This is the valid percentage. The first one was what you see in SPSS as what percentage. That is using the total irrespective of the missing data. But with a valid percentage, you are using the people who responded to that particular list. Okay. And that is the correct way to present this particular data. Okay. Because you won't know whether the person who did not respond is having this age or that age. Okay, so this one is okay. And then here too we have what? We have a problem. Oh no, that's also okay. So where do we have the problem? Is the top here. Okay, that is what? 149. So I'll just come and click on this one, then change this one to 149. Enter. And then straight away I just do this, and that is it. Hello. Right. So after I've done this one now, I can now decide on which decimal place I want to present my data in. So I can just click on this one and just come here and then decide on the decimal place that I want. So let's put it in 2 decimal places. Okay. Yeah. So everything now is in 2 decimal places. These zeros are not supposed to be there. These zeros are not supposed to be here. These zeros are not supposed to be here. These zeros are not supposed to be here. So is what is this. So now after you've done that, now note, you realize here I didn't merge any of the cells. I just make the test route. Okay. After you've done that, and I didn't leave any space from one set of data to the other. So now what I do is that I just need to copy this particular table that I've done in Excel. Exactly the table. I don't need to add any cells to it. Exactly that table. Copy it, and then send it to what? To your Word document. Since most often than not, you'll be writing in Word. So you send it to your Word document. Okay. Hello. Right. So you send it to your Word document, and then you just paste it. You just paste what you've done like that. Good. So now you have the table. When you come here, there are 2 things that are important. The small box that you can see down here. Okay. You see when I put the arrow on that. Okay. When I click on it, there's a small box that is appearing in here. When I put the arrow on that, it changes. Okay. That is one of the important things you need to know. The other ones is also what? The star here. So when you click on the star like this, it highlights everything. Now the small box that is down here, when you click on it and hold, and then you can pull your table to the any side that you want. So you can pull it down and then what? And then the arrangement and spacing becomes what? The same. Hello. Now if you do that, now you realize that if you click on the table, you realize the table is such that some is not arranged well. So you want to arrange the table well. Now if you are using a lower version of Office than I'm using, you right click on this like this, and you see align cells here in one of this cell alignment. But if you are using mine, you go to layout. You go to layout, and then you come to what? Cell alignment. So you click to align the cell what? Center. Then after that, you select the ones at the first column that are the headers. You select only that one. Okay. And then you go to align to what? Center what? Align center left. So that you have the space that you need. After this, you can change your fonts. Choose any fonts that you want, that you prefer. Here, you can just go down here and then make your font 2. Sorry, I have to select all so that it affects everything. You come to this side, come to home, show ribbon. Sorry, I want to show tab and come out here. So I come to this side. We choose Palatino because we think Palatino is better than what? The other one. Then we want it to be what? To be 12. So it affects everything. Now you have done with that. The next thing you need to do is to put what we call the borders. Now we said that the cage prism borders, we've stopped doing that. Yeah, or you used to call prison break borders, we've stopped doing that. That is this type of tables is no more accepted, where everything is in prison. Now the figures also are fighting for their freedom. So liberation movement. So, and since yesterday was just before yesterday was Independence Day, so don't enslave these guys. So what you do is that you go to the border and shading, then you increase the width, and 2¼ is okay. You apply it to the top and then apply it to the bottom. You click on OK. Then the next thing is to select the top alone, go back to this side, and then this time around just apply it to only the bottom, and then click on OK. So if you do that, this is how the table looks like. Those of our virtual audience, this is how the table now look like. Hello. Right. So now you may want to do a little bit more of polishing. The headers, you may want to make them bold. So this status, you may want to bold it. Any spelling mistakes you've made, you may want to check it. So for example, age of respondent. So that one also we want to bold it. Okay. Now these ones we want to do them well. We say it is 20 to 29 or something.
So let's do it.
I think it's very easy in order not to waste too much time. It is 20 to 29. 20 to 29. I've seen some people are already tired. People are already tired. So 30 to 39. 39, right? 39. Yeah, so this one you can insert it. Yeah, you can go to insert, and then when you go to insert, you go to symbols. Okay, and you can have the greater than or equal to sign. You just insert that. Okay, yeah, so you can get it this way. I think this makes it right. So again, the greater than or equal sign, you will just insert it here. Not equation, sorry. Don't do equations for me. So I'll go to insert, then I'll go to symbols. So I can choose yeah, that's the first one now. Good. Okay, so this one now becomes 29. This one becomes 39. 39. Hello. Right, so educational status, normally you want to make your distance yeah, you want to capitalize each of the distance. So educational background, okay, educational background of respondent or respondent's educational background, whichever way you want to put it, that would be cool. So respondents yeah, respondent's educational background. Okay, age of partner should be bolded. That is also okay. So we can easily change these things and make them look better. So partner's age or age of partner, whichever way sounds better for you. So if you do this, you have a table like this. Now you can stretch this table to anywhere you want to stretch by using the small box that is here. Now nobody will be able, even though you have this as frequency and then percentages, every table should come with a footnote that tell us what the data is. So you may come to put here as data is presented as, in this case, as figure and percentage. Good. Then the next thing you want to do is to give us a heading. And for every table, the heading is at the top. If it's a figure, the heading is at the bottom. Right. So you can click on this star to select the whole thing. Now you come to right click on this one and you come to insert captions. So if you click on insert captions, okay, it loads this for you. And if it is not a table and it's a figure, you choose it. So as soon as I choose figure, I see the default is below the selected item. But if I choose a table, you see above selected item. You just click on what? Okay. And then you have the insert caption there. So you bring this thing and then just put the title there. So let's say demo or general demographic information or whatever it is. So demographic information of study respondent. Yeah, so you can easily change the text. Come to this side, choose the same text as is in the table, choose the size as you have it, and then again you can change the text color, make it automatic, and then you don't need to make it italicized, but you want what to bold it. And if you do this, it means that anybody that is reading this table will be able. So with just one table, we have all the demographic information in here. Okay, this one in otherwise would have given us what, 10 different tables, and sometimes if you are not even lucky, 10 figures in addition. So just by looking at this table, it tells us the whole story of what, the demographic data of the people that we found. So straight away we know that we have what do you call it, more pregnant women than what, pepora. Okay, majority of the respondents were married. Marital status should have been bolded. Okay, majority of our respondents were married, and I'm taking that one from here. About what, about 80-something% of them are married. Majority of them are married. In terms of age, our respondents actually were concentrated around what, 20 to let's say 40 years old. Hello, this is data now analyzing. I'm drawing information out of it. So if you are doing the write-up, this is how you do it. You highlight the important information that the table is bringing up. Okay, right. If you look at the partners also, most of them were above what, 30 years. Hello? Yeah, and I'm drawing that information from here. Most of them are above 30 years. I'm drawing that information from here. That is 61% of them. Okay, at the time of the study, majority of the people has at least obtained what, basic education. And it's same for the what, for the husband. So if I look at this table, I know the people you are what, you are dealing with. So now any information that you are providing, I can put it in what, in context of the particular group of people that you are what, you are dealing with. So this is table 1. And this is one way of presenting table 1, just a general table. On the other hand, because your study group have what, pregnant and pepora, you may want to do the same thing here, but in this case subgroup them into what, pregnant and then what, pepora, so that people can see what the pregnant people were made up of and what the pepora people were also made up of. In that case, the table's characteristics may change a little. So in our next class, we will try to do this same analysis. This time around we're going to use Excel. We use another what do you call it, software, and then you see how easy it can be done. Then you can choose your choices. So on this note, thank you for coming after a long break of holiday. Today was a very healthy working day for most of us, and seriously you can see that people are tired. Yeah. All right, thank you, and see you again tomorrow.